Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Band of Barbers podcast. I'm your host, Devon Evans, and today, oh boy, um, today we're not even gonna waste time. I've got a good episode for you guys, and it is. I don't know if it's gonna be a good episode, but it's you know. I give a lot of tips and everything like that, but sometimes I just want to talk about what it's like to build a business. Now, probably the people that know me best aren't listening to this episode. They probably won't. Probably never will. Really doesn't make a difference to me. But I am going to say this, and this is something that I find quite funny. So, I was having a conversation with one of my best friends today, and we were talking about me me opening the school and everything that was going on with that and so on and so forth. And we worked a job together a few years ago. And typically, I always had some sort of book in my hand. And when I worked that job, and there was a business book, and I would always try to share with people like what I was doing, what I was talking about, all of these sorts of things, right? And so, I'm just saying, it was for me, it was the idea of like everybody seemed to be at that job just as miserable as I was. And, my idea was, hey, don't look for another job, build a business while you're doing what you're doing. Okay. Build a business, right? That was my idea. That was my thought and everything like that. So I'm just sharing the information with them, right? As I'm learning, I'm excited. I'm sharing it with them. I'm sharing it with them. I'm sharing it with the kids. Uh, I'm just sharing all of this information. Okay. And mind you, if you don't know, and if you've never heard, sorry, if you've never heard my story, probably about maybe 3 months in, 4 months into my apprenticeship, I started thinking about, and planning to open a barber school because my area didn't have one at the time. And I felt like people going through apprenticeships, if they didn't really pursue or really work at it, they were going to miss out on a lot of information. So, you know, being that I care about people, I attempted to share the information with my coworkers at the time, and one of the things what my coworkers what my one of my best friends told me today is probably one of the funniest things I've ever heard. And like I said, I'm all about sharing the information that I have. If I can make the journey easier for you, I'm going to share the information. So here's what me and my coworker were talking about. And like I said, he was telling me how, he was proud of me, and, he was like, you really did it, so on and so forth, and everything like that. And he said, to me. He said, when you were walking around reading all of those business books while we were working, and he said you were doing all that type of stuff, he said people were laughing at you. They didn't laugh at you to your face, but they laughed at you behind your back. And, you know, it never dawned on me that that would occur, right? Never thought about it, never crossed my mind, nothing like that. You know, I generally knew who wasn't interested in what I was talking about and things like that, but you know, I just I always proved a point. Well, it wasn't about proving a point. It was about like, this is my plan. This is what I see. This is what I see coming. This is what needs to be done. So on and so forth. So I never really took the time or even tried to talk to people who didn't really want to do it, right? Or didn't really want to listen to what I had to say. You know, um, working in the environment that I was working in, there was, you know, youth that I will say that biblically would be termed as the least of these are the forgotten ones, or the people that most people don't care about. And so I started taking the messages not only to my coworkers, but I took it to them because I wanted them to know that like there's a chance of hope. Like we all came from similar environments, right? And they're like, "Oh, but you made it here." Yeah, I made it here by conscious choices. Okay. And so I was sharing that I was practicing um my public speaking. I was practicing all of these things. So it has taken me. I'm now on year 5 as a barber, and I'm now in year 5 as a barber. But like I said, so it took me 4.5, it took me 4 years, 3.5 years. 3.5 years to build up everything I needed to be able to run and open a school. You got to understand, I was working on the school before I even had my license, because I knew that this was something that people needed in this area. They needed some sort of skill that could teach them how to open and run their own business. I knew this. I was very intentional about this. All right. This was built for people. This was built for young men between the ages of 17 or 16 and 25, who may have been labeled as some way in their youth or during their early adulthood as at risk. And we know what the term at risk means, right? The hard head people, as some people may call them. That's what I built this for, right? So I just found it really, really funny that they laughed at me. And you know what and it shocked me a little bit when he said that, because I typically try to be, you know, somewhat diplomatic, somewhat, you know, I'm respectful to everybody. Like they laughed at me, And so this is what I told him. I said, you know what was funny? They laughed at me behind my back, but they didn't laugh at me in my face. I said, because at the end of the day, it wasn't possible for them, but they knew it might be possible for me. They knew they weren't willing to put in the work that I was putting in. See, because they were looking for an instant result. It took me years to get here. Years to get here. Do you understand? Like years. In all technicality, I started cutting hair when I was 13, right? I made my first attempt at getting a barber's license, or to get a license within the cosmetology barbering realm. I made my first attempt at doing that in 2015, right? 2015. Made my first attempt. I went to school for it. I went to cosmetology school for a couple months. This was before I ever started working with my working with those coworkers that was laughing at me. And one day I just got focused, and you've heard you heard the story before, but just understand, like, they laughed, and however you want to look at it, like, I'm an entrepreneur. I build businesses. It's what I'm here to do. Build businesses. Let me be clear. That's what I'm here for. That's what I do, is build businesses. Now, for some people who are comfortable with being an employee, they may not see that as a real idea. Yeah, it's high stress involved in this situation, right? Very, 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 very stressful. Okay? It is. Care how you look at it. It's stressful. Just like the stress of when the first time you picked up clippers. Nobody picked up clippers and was perfect the first time. Nobody. This is stressful. Learning to do something new is stressful, and it took me years to learn what I was doing. And you know what you know what I will say to the people who laughed at me? Guess what? One, I appreciate you for laughing. I do. I appreciate you for laughing. I also appreciate my best friend waiting to tell me years later that they were laughing behind my back. Because had he told me at the time, and but let me also touch on this. He said they laughed at you. He said I didn't, because I knew what you were doing. He said I watched you work in notebook after notebook after notebook and write things down and build plans and everything like that. And listen, I'm just started. I'm not even at I haven't even touched the surface yet of what I'm doing. He said, but I saw what you were doing. I saw the process that you were taking. I saw the different things that you did. And guess what? You did it. And I said, oh, shoot. And I told him straight up. I said, yo, those people laughed at me because they laughed behind my back, but not to my face. And the reason that they really laughed behind my back and not to my face is because at the end of the day, they feared what I was actually capable of. Because we've all had those people that we've been around that said that they were going to do something and we laughed in their face. They ain't laughing mine. And you know what? This is not a vengeance episode, and I'm not looking to laugh in their face. I'm saying I took a journey that you weren't willing to take and you thought it was funny. You hear me? I took a journey that you were not willing to take and you thought it was funny. You didn't, truthfully, they didn't think it was funny. Truthfully, they didn't understand how it was possible. It wasn't for them. And see, this is what you have to understand about this journey. People are not going to understand you. They're not going to see your vision. They're not going to see your dream because, hey, at the end of the day, your vision and dream was given to you, not to anyone else. You have to understand this. Like, your vision and dream was given to you, not even to your spouse. So they might not even understand what it is that you're talking about doing or going through. They might not even understand that. And it's just interesting because the further and further I got into this, the more and more I do this, the more I block out all the negative around me. I know that most people aren't willing to do this work because this work is hard. Man, this work is so hard. It takes so much energy. It takes so much time and everything like that, right? But I love every single minute of it. Because when the fruit from the seed that I have planted begins to grow and appear, all them people that laugh, they're gonna say a couple things. I knew him, I watched him, so on and so. They're gonna say all of that stuff. And I'm gonna say, yep, I told you. And it's not an I told you so. I told you what I was going to do. I invited you on the ground floor because I respected you. And I'm so glad that you had the respect not to laugh in my face. I'm so glad you had the respect not to laugh in my face. But I'm very appreciative of it. Thank you for recognizing what I have done now. But let's not forget what I did then. Because when the vision wasn't clear to you, it didn't matter. The vision was clear to me. The vision kept me up at night. The vision I was planning when I was working 16 hours at 2 other jobs that had nothing to do with what I was planning to do. The vision was clear then. The vision was actually really clear when I built another business. I was just too afraid of the vision at the time. So I tried something else because I thought, well, this may produce enough to allow me to do this. And then when that didn't do it, right? My mission was my mission. My vision was my vision. Hand delivered to me. And God said, hey, here's what I need you to do. Because in this place, you get human interaction. See, because I was trying to build a bunch of stuff to be in the background. What I needed was the interaction between people. I'm just telling you. What I needed was the interaction in between people because I understand what's going on. I don't forget for a minute who I was at 14, 15, 16 and what I needed. '17, 18, 19, 20. Shoot, 25. I don't forget for a minute what I needed then. Nobody told me back then, oh, build a business. They told me, go get a job. Get you a good paying job. Nobody said, go get you a job that you enjoy. Because most people don't enjoy what they do. They just do it because it pays. And let me be honest, I enjoy cutting hair. Do I enjoy all of the other stuff that I have to do? No, it's very stressful. Very stressful. But I understand that someone else is counting on me to see my vision through. There are people who are counting on me, some who may not even have even been born yet. But they counting on me to fulfill the vision. That's what they're doing. They counting on me to fulfill the vision. And I say this just like they counting on you to fulfill your vision. You understand? You envision becoming a barber. Okay, let's do it. Oh, but, it's hard learning those techniques. It's simple math. Simple math. Right? 45, 90, 45, 90 degrees. 180 or a blunt cut. Right? 45, 90, 180 blunt. Huh. That's math, right? Open, half, close. Oh, that's math. One guard, two guard. What is that? Half guard. All of those are broken down into millimeters. Open, half, close, 1 through 8. What is it? 8 millimeters. And I know these numbers, and I can't think of it right now. And I'm just it's math based on the shape of their head, square, round, oblong. Like it's simple. Yes, it takes work to understand the texture and the density of the hair. Ooh. But understanding that and doing it and figuring it out all comes with consistency. When you were a baby born, you could not walk. But you walk now, don't you? What if when you were a baby you were like, oh, this walking thing is hard. I'm never going to do this again because it's too difficult. Listen, someone is counting on you to fulfill your vision. Fulfill it. Do it. Push through. Yeah, it's hard. Okay, and what? So is not doing what your vision entails. That Eric Thomas says you're already in pain, get a reward from it. get a reward from it. Period. It's just what it is. All right? So, either way, guys, listen, keep pushing. Don't pay attention to the naysayers, the people who laugh at you or anything like that, because so what? So freaking what? We don't care. We are visionaries. We are leaders, not followers. We don't care. Do what you got to do. Even if it takes longer than you thought it was going to take. Do what you got to do. Anyways, guys, look, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Band of Robbers podcast. Hey, that was a lot tonight. But like I said, stay focused, keep your head down, do what you got to do, keep moving. You'll be all right. Thank you again. Appreciate you guys. Like, comment, share, subscribe so we can grow the tribe.